The joint military, naval, and air movement is happening right now in the Middle East, not because of the recent hostilities that have arisen, but because something very big is happening. This show of force is happening days after President Donald Trump ordered the cancellation of the ceasefire with Iran and threatened to reinstate the naval blockade of Iranian ports. The Iranian attacks on 3 commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz, which took place last Monday and Tuesday, were the trigger. In response, the United States revoked the authorization for the sale of Iranian oil and carried out attacks on coastal targets in Iran for 2 consecutive days. The most important Iranian infrastructure sites in the southern region of the country suffered significant damage. In these attacks, port facilities, coastal radars, anti-ship missile bases, and positions of the Revolutionary Guard were hit. The result was an even greater reduction in the operational capacity of the Iranian naval and coastal forces, which were already weakened by previous actions. Even with this military degradation, Tehran once again threatened control over the Strait of Hormuz. The strait is the route through which a significant portion of the oil that reaches the international market passes. Any interruption or serious threat of closure has an immediate impact on prices and on the global energy logistics. Given this scenario, CENTCOM began repositioning its naval forces. Independent maritime trackers recorded the arrival of 2 American aircraft carriers in the Gulf of Oman. The SS Abraham Lincoln and the SS George H.W. Bush were identified as taking up positions, accompanied by a larger force of United States warships. The announcement came from CENTCOM itself. According to the official statement, more than 20 U.S. Navy warships are patrolling the waters of the Middle East at this moment. The 2 aircraft carriers were spotted within range of Iranian missiles, which raises the operational alert level. The 2 aircraft carriers, with their embarked air wings, are usually dispersed throughout the region, and now they provide constant surveillance capability, air superiority, and the possibility of precise attacks from the sea very close to Iran. The destroyers that accompany them provide missile defense and support in interdiction operations. Together, these ships form a structure capable of monitoring and, if necessary, controlling maritime traffic at the entrance to the Persian Gulf. Naval planning specialists explain that positioning aircraft carriers in the Gulf of Oman is a classic preparatory step for blockade operations or for protecting routes and navigation. The ships stay close enough to respond quickly to any attempt to lay naval mines or attacks on commercial vessels, but they are also exposed to threats from Iranian ballistic and cruise missiles. If you want access to more in-depth analysis and exclusive content, such as live streams and shorts that are not released publicly, become a channel member. Just click here on the Become a Member button. Alongside the military movement's diplomatic efforts continue. A delegation from Qatar concluded its visit to Tehran on Friday. The Qatari mediators traveled in coordination with the United States to try to reduce tensions and avoid further direct confrontations. Sources with knowledge of the talks indicate that the Iranian side showed interest in maintaining dialogue and continuing the previous understanding. The Iranian officials have already arrived this Saturday in Oman, where they will discuss issues related to navigation routes in the Strait of Hormuz, including the lanes that cross Iranian territorial waters. President Trump authorized the continuation of the talks, although there is still no formal face-to-face negotiation between the 2 sides. Some available information indicates that the recent attacks on commercial ships in the strait may not have been directly ordered by the Iranian High Command. Reports suggest the involvement of rebel groups or factions that oppose any rapprochement between the regime and the United States and act independently to sabotage the negotiation process. This possibility adds a layer of complexity to the situation. If the attacks do not represent Tehran's official policy, the American response with naval force and new airstrikes may have a greater impact on the more radical elements within Iran than on the government itself. At the same time, the American presence reinforces the message that any threat to international navigation will be dealt with firmly. The naval force now positioned in the Gulf of Oman includes not only the 2 aircraft carriers, but also destroyers, frigates, and logistical support ships. This concentration allows CENTCOM to maintain 24-hour surveillance over maritime traffic, carry out interdictions when necessary, and provide air cover for any blockade operation that may be activated. The repositioning also serves as a demonstration of sustained capability. American aircraft carriers can remain in the region for long periods, launching and recovering aircraft without relying on nearby land bases. And this gives operational flexibility that Iranian forces, with a more limited naval and air fleet after the recent attacks, cannot match. As the ships approach, the talks mediated by Qatar and the Iranian trip to Oman continue. The stated goal is to restore normal shipping and prevent the Strait of Hormuz from being used again as an instrument of pressure. Iran, militarily weakened on the southern coast, faces increasing economic pressure with the revocation of its oil export authorization. The combination of American naval force in an advanced position and open diplomatic channels creates pressure on 2 fronts. On the one hand, the ability to impose immediate costs if traffic is threatened. On the other hand, the possibility of an understanding that allows Iran to resume part of its exports in exchange for guarantees regarding navigation. Do what our members do to watch the full video. Become an exclusive channel member for just 4 Rs and 99 centavos per month. Just click here on the join button. Now I want to know your opinion on what this naval movement could mean for the next steps in the Middle East.